Boxing truth here. Keith one-time Thurman got a close, tough, unanimous decision over a very tough, very determined Sean Porter in what was a very good fight on PBC on CBS. PBC finally delivered a good card, which with two good fights, a co-feature that featured two prospects that showed their worth, their talent, and they really wanted to win. And Jarrett Hurd, in the end, was pretty much the most impressive fighter of the card. But as for Keith Thurman, he won the fight in my eyes. It was a close fight, wholly contested, tight fight. Not many agree with the decision. In fact, a lot of the crowd booed the decision. A lot of people felt it was a draw. A lot of people felt Porter did more work, was more aggressive. And some people feel Thurman edged him out because simply he landed the cleaner, the more effective, more flashier punches compared to Porter. And that was the difference. That's what edged it for Thurman in my eyes. He landed the better shots in the fight. And he landed more flashier punches, more cleaner, effective shots. And Porter, as he hasn't improved his game in terms of finding the right distance in order to land cleaner, more effective punches. He's just not an accurate puncher, and that really cost him in this fight as he was aggressive, he worked hard, he did some good work in some rounds. He even hurt Thurman with a body shot. But there was some tough, close rounds that could have went either way. Even the round where Porter hurt Thurman with a body shot, that round could have went either way. That was a swing round because Thurman landed a lot of good shots after that body shot he took and was hurt in the fight. Porter also got rocked in the fight in one round. But overall, it was a good fight. The best card PBC has presented to the public. But I wanted to talk about Keith's future and how I see his career panning out. And based on his performance against Sean Porter, wasn't very impressed with Keith one-time Thurman. Based off his last few performances, especially off this fight against Sean Porter, I'm pretty much convinced that Keith Thurman is not the future of the welterweight division. He's just not an elite fighter. He's a good, solid welterweight, but I don't see nothing special about him. And what made this fight against Sean Porter very difficult for him was because he has no fucking jab. It's unbelievable that some fighters that are considered world class in boxing right now can't even throw a fucking authoritative jab. And this was what affected Thurman in this fight against Porter. He's lucky Sean Porter doesn't have a jab himself. His jab sucks as well. But Thurman could have made this fight a lot easier, a lot more clear-cut victory had he established his jab and kept Porter on the outside. But Thurman has no jab. Big amateur background, has won a world title, and this guy can't even throw a decent jab. He has no jab. And that's why he struggled at times against Porter, and that's how Porter was able to cut the distance, because Thurman wasn't throwing the jab, or he just doesn't have an authoritative jab to keep Porter on the outside. That's why Kell Brook made easier work of Sean Porter than what Keith Thurman did to Sean. Here's the thing. There's really no debate who won Kell Brook versus Sean Porter, but there's a big debate on who won between Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. Big debate. It's pretty much 50-50 down the middle. Who won? It was a draw. Sean Porter won. Keith edged it out. So a rematch is warranted. A rematch could be done since it was a close fight. But I thought Keith edged it based on effective, cleaner, and more flashier punches he landed. He just landed the better shots. That's why I felt he won the fight. But I just don't see nothing special in Keith Thurman right now. He's has some average performances. He's had difficulty hurting his opponents. I mean, when's Keith Thurman gonna knock somebody out? I mean, where's this one-time power he's talking about to the fans and the writers? Where's this KOs for life model? He barely rocked Porter in that fight. He rocked him momentarily with a counter hook. There were some good things Thurman was doing. He's a good counter puncher. He was landing very good hooks. He was lucky that counter hook was working for him, because if he couldn't land that punch, Thurman would have been in trouble. He would have been overwhelmed by Porter's physical strength, activity, and his constant grinding down type style. As Thurman allowed himself to be cornered on the ropes, and he would just stand there and allow Porter to tee off on him. And it's simply because Thurman just fails to establish range and distance, simply because he just doesn't have a jab. It's just he throws the jab, he'll throw it, but there's really nothing on it. It's like he doesn't really try to land it or even try to punish his opponents with his jab, because he just doesn't have a good jab in his arsenal. He throws good hooks, good right uppercuts, especially when he counters his opponents. But man, you got to work on that fucking jab, man. I mean, how the hell are you gonna be a top pound for pound player if you can't even throw a decent jab? How are you gonna beat Kell Brook if you don't got a jab? Or even a Mayweather if you don't got a jab? But for Keith Thurman, he got a close decision, defended his title. Now hopefully he'll be a lot more active in the future. He was talking a rematch, that he will be down for one. They could do it, a rematch. I have no problem with that. I'd rather see something, new. I'm tired of talking about Thurman Porter. It took so long for this fight to happen. I think we should see a new fresh matchup, a unification fight, or maybe against the winner of Brook Vargas. As I just want to see both guys move on with their careers and not focus on each other. Maybe they can do a rematch down the line. Maybe Porter can get a good win, maybe pick up a strap, and then maybe they can do a rematch down the line. But for what's next, Thurman wants Danny Garcia, unification. And that's an interesting fight. And based on the performances, based on what both guys did to each other, Thurman and Porter, I think Danny's live against any one of those guys. I picked Danny to beat Porter. And right now, it's 50-50 between Swift and Thurman. I mean, I've just been more impressed with what I've seen from Garcia and his performances compared to what I've seen from Thurman. I mean, he hasn't wowed me in a long time, and he hasn't recorded any knockouts in a long time. And in this fight, he showed that he still has a lot of work to do. He needs to develop a jab. On the verge of being 28 years old, 27 fights, and I didn't see one decent jab against Sean Porter. And that was the reason why it was such a tough fight for Keith. And as for Porter, it was a tough loss for him, but a good performance. He was very determined. He kept coming. He kept pushing forward. He showed that he's in great condition. He's in very good condition, very good shape. It's just that he has trouble establishing distance, has trouble landing good, clean, effective punches, and that's what's caused two of his defeats in his career. He couldn't close the distance against Kell Brook, and he got cleanly outboxed. And in this fight, he couldn't land enough effective punches compared to what Keith was doing. Keith was landing good, clean, hard power shots in a lot of the rounds, and in the rounds where Sean Porter won, it was simply because he was outworking Thurman or getting him to the ropes, landing a lot of punches and bunches, but nowhere near as clean or effective to what Thurman was landing. But in the rounds Porter won, it was effective work and pretty much is outworking Thurman. And good fight. It was a very good fight. There's writers and fans debating on if it was the fight of the year. It was one of the best fights of the year. I mean, it was a good fight. Was it better than Vargas-Alito? I don't think so. I thought Alito-Vargas it's still the fight of the year. But this was the fight of the year for PBC, the fight of ever since the PBC started last year. This was their best fight. And they can definitely do a rematch. I would just hope it will be down the line and not next. I'd rather see both guys move on with their careers, get fresh matchups, fight somebody else, and then maybe Thurman can prove me wrong by going out there and conquering the welterweight division, but I just don't see it. He's not durable enough. Gets hurt to the body, can't take it to the body. Power is overrated, and he's got no jab. But y'all let me know what y'all think. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.